We have a brand new collection from Crafter's Companion. It is a Sarah Davies signature collection, and it's gorgeous.
It is, and it's big. There's a lot of items, embossing folders, cutting dies, cardstock, stamps even, and it's going to be so beautiful all together.
And wait till you see what the design team has done with Floral Fantasy. Come play with us. As you can see, there are all of these goodies, just like Gail said.
Right. We have cutting dies here. We have embossing folders. What do you want to look at first?
More cutting dies,
right.
More a stamp set, and foiled papers. So let me see. Let's go with the foiled papers.
They're just beautiful. It's got beautiful silver foiling and all of these different designs.
And there are 16 sheets. So let me just flip through. These are 6 by 6. And what I think is interesting is there are so many different designs, and they're just lovely.
And these are great for just pulling out and placing right onto a card, or you're going to even see how to use them on a page.
Right.
So that in combination with these cutting dies, and there are several different cutting dies here. I love these. These are metal dies, so they're all individual like this. Really nice filigree. I'm going to point out how intricate they are and mention something that Susan said.
Okay.
That said it's going to be a lot easier to get these released with the paper released if you use wax paper between the paper and the cutting die. Now that's a tip also that you'll find on our cutting die DVD, by the way. Lots of great tips. Tells you just how to use really intricate dies like this.
Which are gorgeous. In fact, let's bring in a project so we can start showing how to use all these goodies. We'll just slip them over there, and this page is using one of the 6 by 6, and I think it's really nice to have that because it's easy to think, okay, 6 by 6, gosh, I can't use it because of
because it's a 12 by 12 page.
Yeah, but you can. Or like our cards are generally 5 by 6.5, and you don't want to discount using something that's going to add such a wonderful look to your pages or your cards.
Sometimes all you need is a little accent.
Yeah.
But I do like the entire 6 by 6 was used off the edge, behind one edge of the photo, and that's just beautiful. And all of the other areas are filled in with these cutting dies that were used. So these are stacked flowers. I'm going to bring this in real briefly. It's not the same material, but you'll see this is how it is. It's going to die cut that back flower, and it's going to die cut this lacy flower that lays right on top of it, and that's what you're seeing here.
And these were done out of the silver linen paper, and I'm just going to bring in a little piece of it so you can see the texture. It's a 12 by 12 sheet, although we do have them in 8.5 by 11. But it just adds a shine to it, doesn't it?
Right. So the dies that we're talking about, this one had 8 metal dies. It has all of the flowers. It has some of the scroll work that you see here. But we also have other die sets, and this one has these beautiful corners. Is it in this one?
Yeah, it's the corner that's right there.
You're right. There's another one that was used. So there's the corner. I've got 2. There we go. So the corner piece, the scrolls, all of those flowers, 8 dies total there.
So there's another flower that's the solid and the corners, and over on the side is another die, which is this one.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so a really pretty border, and I think a really nice way to use it on the edge of a page.
And that's the purple. So it was die cut in the purple patterned paper, and then it was laid on top of silver linen, and Susan chose to cut around it close. But I was going to mention, you could also just leave the silver linen as just a rectangular piece hanging out. So yeah, make it easy on yourself. Sure.
Very pretty. Nice. Okay, nice to begin with the scrapbooking page. And if those papers don't look familiar, they will next week when they're released. This is the Illusion papers. Illuminate papers. Yes, beautiful. Okay, moving on to a card, and obviously this is a 6 by 6 card, and this is using an interesting one that in the package kind of looks like a corner die, and that's not everything.
Well, you can use it on a corner, so that's the deal, because on this, I'm going to turn it over this way just to show, this edge does not cut out. This edge does. So in the example, they're showing if you place it on the corner of your paper, like if I have this and I were to place it down on the corner of my paper like so, it would cut out and look like that down on my corner. But what Debbie decided to do was to turn it sideways and place that die on both ends of a rectangular shaped piece of metallic silver paper.
And I think something that's interesting is that placing it on this foiled paper gives me an idea that after you use this paper, you could duplicate it by using this cutting die on the corners of paper, so
and
that
it would match nicely.
Yeah, it would give you something else.
But then again, here you have this paper that matches it perfectly because that is the same pattern, but it's on that pad of paper that comes with the Sarah Davies collection.
And for another surprise, this is a gatefold card.
Now, everything that you're seeing here, these are all die cuts. These are not stamps, they're die cuts, and they come with another die cut set that comes with, has all the little words. It's
okay.
We've got them all sitting here. There we go. So the words come with that.
Okay, so sent with love, thank you, well done, and dream. And they are tiny. When you look at them here, I'm thinking, guys, those are really itty bitty. But it's interesting when I see it here, oh, that's just perfect.
It is. It's going to fit into all sorts of little situations.
Yes.
So sent with love on the front and then thank you on the inside. It's got a variety of messages, so that's great. I love those little cutting dies. They're so fun.
It looks like there are 2 sheets of this particular design. And
makes a nice easel.
Right, just really perfect. Okay, moving on. Here is another card, again, using the foil paper and the cutting dies, but this is yet another set of cutting dies.
It is. So here's that set. There are 3 dies in here, and if I turn them over, you'll see there are going to be, they're going to cut an edge, but they're also going to cut a decorative edge on there. So it's not going to cut off your paper all the way, it's just going to cut off one edge and give you a decorative edging on there. And one of the things, a little trick that Debbie did, she took one of the papers, she put it on top of her card already, just like so. She took one of these, and I'm going to pull one of them off, and it's got this nice curvy edge on there, but she placed it on her card like this. Without cutting, she used it to trace the line, that wavy line here and here again, and then on just the front of her card she cut those lines to separate, and then on the card you can see she backed that area with acetate to create kind of a window in there. I thought that was a great design.
So the acetate is there, and right there, so it's peeking through to see the stamp, which is another part of the kit, which has all of these, and let me see, there you can see them a little bit on the back through that warning label. Handmade, just for you, best wishes, thanks. We've got some flowers, sweet little swirl, and then a short border, of course, that you can repeat. And so that's what's been used on the inside through that peekaboo window.
So, even the let's see, you can pull this in here, the little border dies again, this one was used to cut an edging that you can see in the silver linen there. But I'm really interested in those colorful flowers too.
Yeah, here's some on the inside.
Another one of those cutting dies, and it looks like those flowers are separate, but they're really not, because they've been colored in with Spectrum Noir markers. So I wanted to show you, at least for the flowers on the front, the way Debbie did that is by taking a purple Spectrum Noir marker, and this is what I love about silver linen papers, kind of a special thing for that. It's very easy to change the color of it. So if you get a Spectrum Noir marker, you can change that to any color that you want. So go ahead and color it, and then die cut that area.
Okay, so color first.
Color first.
Okay.
I would.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier than,
because these are really delicate.
That's right. And then be sure and use your wax paper in between this and the cutting die so that it releases easily, and it's just beautiful.
Aha, so you can have silver linen any color you want.
Absolutely.
Now, we've been showing a lot of the foil paper because that's really part of this, but just to give you an idea of what you can do with regular printed paper, and again, if this does not look familiar, it's because it's called Buttercup, and it will be available starting next week.
Just wait, but you can use any color of paper that you want, any other designs, and it's just gorgeous. I love that look. And this is something that Susan did with the stamp set.
Yeah, I was just thinking, the stamps are a little different in that they're pretty They're not real intricate, but they do have lines on the inside, and I think they do a really, really nice job on the projects.
They do. So when you stamp them onto pattern paper, which is what Susan did, I just thought this is always a fun idea. Just stamp it on there, and then you can just start cutting them out and just stay close to the inked lines. And because these are a little bit more of a simple to design, it's going to be easier to cut them out. You don't necessarily have to have the die cut for that because it's easy to do. And when you do, here's one that she cut out, then she said you can just take your thumb and just sort of, your thumbnail and your finger, just
give a little dimension.
Yeah, a little bit of rolling that and picking that up, and you get a little bit of lift on there.
And you can see that on these. So, and I do have to tell you, we kind of just pile up our projects. So this has not had any extra attention to allow those to stay lifted. They do just do that.
There's a lot of things sitting on it, but it does hold its shape.
And there is that little border, which I think is really sweet. And then the thanks
just
that
been
swirl.
Stamped on there, right?
Very, very nice. And the inside was even finished. So just for you, which is one of the phrases that's on it. And as you can see,
so very pretty. Love that stamp set, and of course, I love those papers. Wait till next week.
Now, there were 2 embossing folders, and we haven't talked about those. They are both the 3D style, and look how gorgeous, out of black cardstock that's transformed with
metallic silver stays on, and this is a very well used one. You just take some sort of stylus. I kind of like this one that has or inking tool. This is what this is, and you're just going to pick up that silver ink, and here it is already embossed, and just go around like that and add a little bit of silver. Now these are 3D embossing folders. This one is called Bouquet Borders, and so it's got those nice bouquets on the edges, but embossed in one piece like this, and then Debbie cut it down the center to create a gatefold card.
And it goes like this. So she's added some of our silver metallic paper with the cutting dies.
Right, the cutting dies, even for the greetings, those are the cutting dies. And let's see.
And another one right there.
And that one. And again, she stacked those, and then you can just glue those in place, and you can do this and just sort of roll them and get a little dimension that you can either go down or you can go up. That's sort of your choice. That's a really nice look. I did want to mention about the 3D embossing folders. When they're 3D, that means that they're going to give you a deeper impression than like a standard embossing folder. And that means these are just a little tiny bit thicker than, say, our embossing folders are.
Yeah.
And so what I find that I have to do is, while I have 2 plates that go with my Big Shot die cutting machine. It's going to go with any other machine as well. You can have 2 plates to place this in between. I actually have to remove that bottom plate and then build up a few layers of cardstock till I get it just to the right thickness, because you never want to force anything through your machine. It can ruin the gears.
Now, while we're that close, I just want to show this layered. There are 2 of the cutting dies, both of them backed on black, and both cut out of black and silver, and just really pretty. And yes, that is a silver jewel dazzle in there because
it's perfect for that.
Yes. Now our last one is using another of those borders, and also the other embossing
you're
folder.
Right. The die cut borders. Let's see. So the metal dies. So it's this one right here.
Yeah.
That was used right along the edge. So you'll see it'll cut that border, but it'll leave the rest of the paper intact.
And look how delicate that is. Now, the largest or the longest one is 5.5 inches, and our cards are 6.5.
Right.
But it works perfectly because you can just kind of start it, center it in the middle, and then just clip off the edges.
So that's nice. And it was used here on the centerpiece as well. Plus the stamps, which have that just for you greeting. And the rest of it was done with another 3D embossing folder. So this has got falling flowers all over this one. Oh, here's what it looks like there. That's a good representation. But it's been done on vellum. which I thought was a really nice idea. And I think when you're using something that embosses as deeply as these 3D embossing folders, I would probably spritz it just a tiny bit with water. And I would even put a piece of cardstock in with it so that it doesn't rip the vellum.
Good idea.
And then when you're done, you can just get in there with the cat's eye cues. And these are the blues, which are, I think they're exclusive
to us,
to Paper Wishes. And Debbie said she just opened these up just like so and just went right onto the vellum just like that and just inked them a little bit. She said that her ink pads were maybe not a brand new one, so if it's a really inky ink pad, you might want to use something
cosmetic sponge or a stylus,
to apply it.
Good tips. So just a beautiful look, and she did complete the inside also. So we have, as you can see, we have so many things in this collection.
Embossing folders, lots and lots of cutting dies, and those beautiful papers. That's 6x6 paper pad.
Right,
all in one collection.
Now you can get them separately, of course, but we have put them together in a bundle just for you.
Because they match so perfect. You're going to want them all together.
They do, and we will hope to see you again next week.
Okay.